Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me in another tutorial. I am excited to show you how to do this beanie. I have the most wonderful Facebook group that you can imagine. Like seriously, Koala Knits and Knacks. You will find that link down below. And one of the ladies in that group posted some hats like this that had the flat edge with pom-poms on the corner. And her name is Simone. So thank you, Simone. And then another lady, Natalie, asked for the pattern and she didn't have one. So they asked if I would make a tutorial on it, and I was totally happy to do that. It was fun to do. I really went out of my box when it comes to colors. You can see that really colorful one is something that you don't usually see a variety of colors like that on my channel, but I'm gonna continue to go out of my box because I really like it now that it's done. It's really pretty. And then I made the other one, the lighter colored one, so that you could see the stitches easier when I grafted the top together. Okay, so we're going to use our 48 needle Sentro, or you can use your 46 needle Addi, whichever one you prefer. And we're going to go ahead and make this beanie. The row counts on this beanie are less than what I normally make for a beanie, but that's because of the shape of the top. You want it snugger to your head than the normal beanies that I make. So I just really had fun making this, and I hope you do as well. So please show me in my Facebook group if you make one. Come on over and join if you haven't done so already. And please hit that like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I have a personal goal that I'm trying to get to. And when I get to that goal, you will see the bells and whistles in a post. But help me get to there. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I'd appreciate that so much if you would hit that subscribe button, and the like button every time you watch a video would be awesome. Okay, friends? So once you have your supplies ready, we're going to get going on this project. You will find my list of yarn that I used down below in the description box. I hope that helps. Okay, friends? All right, friends, so if you have your machine set up, we are going to begin. We're going to start this project with waste yarn, so a contrasting color to your project yarn. Now, I'm being very brave and I'm using 3 really bright colors for this beanie, but it's going to be great, okay? Somebody will like it. So hopefully you will. Put in the comments if you would wear a beanie with these colors, but I just thought it would be fun. So we're going to bring our first white, last pink. That's how I like to use this white one as my first one. We're going to cast on behind that white, in front, behind, and in front, all the way around. I do not put tension when I'm casting on. I just let it slip through my fingers. So behind and in front, behind and in front. You can use your 46 Addi again, but I just got my counters and I'm having so much fun using my Sentros with the counters. Tell you, I hated using them when I didn't have a counter because I kept losing track of my counts. You had to mark your rows. That just wasn't something I enjoyed, so I just didn't use them very much, but I do like my Sentros. So I am going to knit, about 7 rows of waste yarn. You can go ahead and do as many as you're comfortable with. I'm going to just pull it out of the ball here. So you go ahead and knit as many as you are comfortable with, and I'll see you back when I am done. 7. All right, I'm coming around, finishing my 7th row, but before I get to the beginning, I'm going to set my counter to 0. And I'm going to watch for that black divider that I have marked with a permanent marker. When it gets in front of my yarn guide, I know that I am finished that row. I'm going to cut that yarn tail, put it in the center between the last pink and the first white. Then I'm going to grab my first color, which is the inside color and the brim. I'm choosing what I believe is the lightest color of the 3, and that's the Robin's Egg Green from Bernat Premium. Okay, we're going to pop that into the center there, and we are going to knit 3 or 4 or 5 needles, pop those down over the dividers, and pull that tight. What that does is it gives you even tension at the beginning of your rows. Okay, so I'm going to put one little slip knot in there. I'm going to double check my chart there, and I'm going to do 85 rows. Okay, so this is row 1, And I find with the Sentros, I have to put a little bit more attention on my working yarn than I do if I'm using my Addi, because I find that these little, I could be wrong, but I think the little nook of these needles is a little bit narrower. And so if you have this too loose, it just passes right in front of that nook. So I always put a little bit of extra tension for my yarn, and those needles then don't tend to have much of a problem picking up the yarn. So I'm going to go around, I'm going to knit 85 rows. When I get to around row 55 or 60 and it starts to touch the table, if you're new and you don't know what to do with your project, then come back and see me and I will show you what we do. And just for those of you who are wondering, I'm going to just stop here. I use my Addi clamps to clamp down my Sentro just up the front legs here. I have a video on that if you want to see how I do that. And then I actually take electrical tape. Just get it at the dollar store, but it's very sticky, and I just put it a piece over the back legs on both sides, and it helps to keep my machine sturdy when I'm knitting, and it's not going to go anywhere, which is great. So that's just a little tip that I will give you there. But go ahead, keep knitting until you get 85 rows, and then I'll see you back. All right, I'm just gonna be finishing, I'm just finishing row 69. I said that when it gets to 55 or 60, it would touch the table, but you know what? The Sentro is higher than the Addi, so it takes more rows. But once it starts to touch the table, if you do not roll it up into a donut to make tension, what happens is it just keeps bunching up like this, and those little loops will fall off your pink teeth. And if they do that, your row will start to undo. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just pick it up and we're gonna roll it into a donut, just like so. And that helps keep your tension even around the barrel as you're knitting and makes for a more beautiful project. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep going till I finish row 85. Then I will see you back. I just clicked on 85 and I'm going to finish that row. I see that black divider coming around, so I know I'm at the end right there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut that yarn tail, pop it into the middle between the last pink and the first white. Now what we just did, I'm going to roll this up just a little bit more. What we just did was 45 rows of our inside color and 45 rows of the brim. Or pardon me, 40 rows of the brim. That's what made us get to 85. So 45 rows for the inside, 40 rows for the brim. That's 85. Now we're going to start working on the front of the project. The first 20 rows gets hidden underneath the brim when you fold it up. So we're going to now put in our second color, which is, for me, the purple. We're going to put that into our yarn guide. Make sure it clicks all the way down, because if you just have it partway up like this, the needles are not going to pick it up. There's a little dip that it goes a little further, so push that down, and then you won't have as much trouble with skipped stitches when the needle's trying to pick up the yarn. So just make sure that you push it all the way down. Okay, then we're going to do a jogless join with our color changes. So we're going to take that working yarn, we're going to swing it behind and onto the other side of that pink needle. Okay, so then we're going to take these two and we are going to knit 3 or 4 needles, and you see how loopy it is here? We need to fix that because we don't want the beginning of our row to be messy. So you just pull on both ends till that snugs up. Then you can just take these two, and I always, let me just grab my scissors. I always just cut them a little bit shorter so they're a little bit more manageable and go from there. Pop those down into the middle. And we are going to knit 28 rows of this color. Okay, knowing that the first 20 rows get covered when we roll up our brim. So really the patterning is going to start after the 20 rows, because that's what we see. So we are going to make sure that you have slack coming out of the ball. This is a brand new ball, so I have to fix that. That will help your stitches. And I always have a hard time getting my handle going because it feels so different from my Addi. It's not as smooth, but once I get it going, we're fine. So we're going to go till we get to 113 rows. That will be 28 rows of this color. Yes, if my math is right, we were on 85. We're doing 28 rows. So that's 113. When your counter tells you that you've done 113 rows, then see me back. Or reset your counter if you like with every color. And then do 28 rows with this color. All right, so I'm gonna finish row 113. I see that black divider coming around, so I know I'm gonna stop when it gets in front of my yarn feeder. Okay, so now we are going to cut off that tail, pop that in between the last pink and the first white, and we're gonna take our third color. Look how bright that is. My husband's not gonna want me to wear this out of the house. He likes more softer colors, but you know what? I might do it anyways, because as I'm working this up, I'm liking it. I'm gonna put this in behind the last pink, and I'm going to knit 4 or 5 needles. And I'm gonna take that working yarn. We're gonna do the same. Pop that down under the divider and pull that tight. Take your scissor, cut those off even. You don't have to do that. It's just one of those things I do. Roll this up a bit more. Okay, and we will do our jogless join with that and fix that later. We're going to do 3 rows of this coral color, okay? And so when I'm done row 116, we will change colors again. I'm just gonna stay with you. This is row 114. Just clicked on 115. And 100, and oops, it's too tight coming out of my ball. Let me just loosen that. This is row 3. 116. I'm gonna watch for that black divider to come around. There it is. Okay. You can clearly tell the difference. If you watch my videos, you can clearly see the difference in how the machines knit. So many times you get the question, is the Addi really worth better than the Sentro? I'm telling you, friends, they can do the same job. If you can only afford a Sentro, you get a Sentro, but just know that it doesn't work as smoothly and it's not as sturdy as the Addi. So yes, I love mine and I use it. But you can see even in my handle, it's hard to start it. It's just, there is a difference. You get what you pay for, and that is the truth. But seriously, there's no shame in getting the Sentro 48 and the Sentro 22 needle machine and using those for all the projects, if that's what you can afford, because they work too. Okay, so I'm going to put my purple color back in, and I'm going to swing it around behind that last pink needle. We're going to knit 4 or 5 needles, and we're going to do the same thing. Pop that down, pull it tight, and as is my practice, cut those off. We're going to knit 3 rows of this purple color. So row 119. This is 117, 118, and 119. Gonna watch for that divider to come around. Okay, I'm gonna cut my purple yarn. I'm going to put it in between that last pink, the first white. I'm gonna grab that bright orange again, pop that in there, push it down, and then I'm going to swing it behind that last pink needle. I'm going to knit 4 or 5 needles, and we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing. Oh, I put a little short tail in there. Those are already popped down. I'm going to just pull to tighten. I'm not going to cut that orange one any shorter because it's already short. And then we are going to do 3 rows of this color. So this is 1. And 2. Pull it out, slack out of the ball. And row 122 is 3 rows. Watching for that black divider to come around. And there it is. Cut off your tail. Pop it in between the last pink, the first white. I'm going to grab my purple one more time. And we are going to swing that behind that last pink. Knit 4 needles or 5. and snug that up. All of my beanies on my channel are 140 rows. I like to have a wide brim beanie, but with a beanie like this where you're going to have a flat edge, you don't want slouch in it. So I'm only doing 130 rows for this particular pattern, okay? So I'm going to roll this up a little bit more, which means I have 8 rows left. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knit 8 rows of this purple. Until I get to 130 rows knit. Gonna finish row 130. I see that black divider coming around. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm going to cut that yarn tail. We're going to leave it a little bit longer. Not much longer, just a little bit. Okay, and we're going to take our waste yarn, pop it in between the last pink, the first white. Now we do not need to do a jogless join with this because this yarn is coming out. We just need to begin knitting, okay? And you knit as many rows as you're comfortable with for waste yarn. I'm going to do 10. Generally I do 7, but we're going to stitch this end up in a straight row, and I just want to make sure that it's not going to come apart as I'm doing it, because I want you to really be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a few more rows than I normally do. I'm going to do 10. All right, so I have that done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that yarn tail, pop it in the middle there between the last pink and the first white. Oh, before I finish, I'm going to tell you, when I first got these counters, I would like do part of a project and I would go away, and then I'd come back and I'd hit that little silver button and then I'd lose my row count. And I thought, oh, this thing doesn't keep up. But then some brilliant person in my Facebook group, I forget your name, so because I'd have to go back and look at it, but thank you very much, you know who you are, said that no, it just it wakes up. You just don't touch the silver button, just keep knitting, and as soon as you start going, it's going to wake it up. And as soon as that magnet touches, you know, lines up with it, it's going to wake it up and continue from where you left off. So, oh, I love this little purple counter. Thank you for telling me that, because it made a world of a difference. Because on the last project I did, I was like, gotta reset this, and I would start from 0 all the time, and it was just a mess. So I'm learning along with you in a lot of things. So thank you for telling me that. And you know what? That's just a reminder to go over and join my Facebook group, because there's brilliant people there and we learn from each other. Okay, so now that I have that cut, I'm going to just rotate my barrel, and the second time around it lets go. Okay, I often have to help those last two. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, so I'm going to now, I can zero that out, no problem. I'm going to remove my machine and we're going to move on to the next part of the project. Okay, so now let the fun begin. See, this is how it looks when you don't stretch out a project. I'm just going to stretch out a little section there to show you the magic if you're new. Okay, like look at the difference between that and that. See? You have to stretch out your work and then it will look beautiful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it inside out, because we are going to fix all those joins. My favorite thing, one of my favorite things to do. But before we do that, once we unroll it, we're going to stretch it widthwise. Oops, knock over my favorite stitch markers. And lengthwise. Look at these wild colors. Have fun. Okay, and lengthwise. We'll do that a little bit later too. Now, find your joins. Let's start on this side. You can see very clearly that this top line and this bottom line do not match, because we're knitting in the circular. We're not stopping, chaining one like we would do in crochet, and then keep going so that your rows all line up. This is going in the circular and just keeps going up, and so that's why our rows do not match. Okay, so we are going to make them match. We're going to do the magic. So you're going to take both of these tails, hold them in your hands, in your fingers, and then you're going to put one finger on top of that above that first row and one finger down below, just so that you can press down and hold it in place. As you pull this, all you're going to do is take this and give it a tug. You will feel it slip into place. And when you do, the magic has happened and you see that's lined up perfectly. You don't have to pull very hard, but then you tie this and don't tighten this really tight because then you're going to compromise the stitches. That first one you just do just nice and lightly. Then the second one you can tighten just like that. Then I'm going to cut that off a little bit shorter. I'm going to go to my next one. Okay, so you can clearly see. Now we're going to put our finger above and below, grab these two pieces. I'm going to make sure I'm in the camera. There we go. And you're going to just tug. You could probably hear that fall into place. And it did beautifully. Just play with that just a little bit and you see it lined up. You're going to take this and you're going to tie it. So simple to do, but such a beautiful outcome. And you're going to see when we turn it around. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. I love this. This is not work to me. This is fun. Okay, we're going to do the same thing there. Some people would say, I'm going to just tie it and I don't care if it's not, you know, seamless on the other side because this is just one extra step. But you know what? Attention to detail is everything. So make sure you get out of that mindset if that's the mindset that you're in and do the jogless join because you know what, my friends, seriously, you will have a nicer finished project when you are done. And I can't wait to show you the other side if you've not witnessed it before in any of my other videos or anyone else's videos. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to take this last one and we're going to tie that off. And cut it off. And I've got them all. Be sure that you have them all. Now we're going to just give that another little stretch and we're going to just observe the magic. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. That, my friends, is what happens when you do the jogless join. You cannot see it anywhere. It just lines it up beautifully. Now we are going to grab our stitch markers, my favorite stitch markers, bobby pins. Let me just grab 4 of them. Put those aside. What you're going to do, friends, is you're going to take one side and put it inside the other, so that your right sides are facing, okay? Which means your right sides are showing to you. Your wrong sides are together. We're going to unfold that. Okay? We are going to find our first and our last stitch. So let's start with, this is the one that I grabbed. So this is the end of your project. Take a look for where your purple or your working yarn, whatever color you used, is coming out. So if I pull on that, this is the last loop that it's in, right here, okay? Pull on that, and you see that stitch there is the last one. So you're gonna put that, or the first one, however you wanna look at it, but that's the one that we're going to put our stitch marker in. You're gonna go to the right of that, and where your waist yarn is coming out of that purple loop, you are going to stick your stitch marker in there. Now let's roll up the other side. We're going to do the same. Okay, so where my working yarn is coming out of, I'm going to just turn it this way because it's easier to do. You'll see here, where that working yarn is coming out of, the loop that is right beside it is the one you're going to put your stitch marker in. Then you're going to go to the other side here. You're going to take your other stitch marker and you'll see when you pull on this tail, just like this, see how that goes? It's coming through this loop. This is the one that you want. Now we've got our first and our last stitches marked off with our waist yarn, and we're going to now easily be able to close this in a straight edge, okay? So you're going to want to make sure that your tails are outside. Put them in between your stitch markers, just like that. Make sure you're not going to sew them in and hide them, okay? Then we're going to, I'm going to turn it this way now. We're going to match up those 2 bobby pins that are on the left. Take your crochet hook, I'm using a 5mm, and go under that first green stitch, or whatever you're working, your first stitch is on your project, okay? I'm gonna pick that up, and then I'm gonna go over to this next bobby pin, this next stitch marker, and I'm gonna grab that loop. Just like that, you see that? And then I'm going to bring it through into that loop. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I'm going to pick up this next loop, this very next stitch that's part of my project, pick it up and bring it through. This is going to pull on you, but you're just going to tighten it. Then I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to take that next loop. Once I do 3, I'm going to remove those first bobby pins that I worked, and I'm going to put it through that loop on the hook. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom, pick up that next loop, and work it. Up to the top, pick up that next loop, and work it. We're slip stitching this to close, and it's going to create a beautiful flat seam. Then we're going to go down to this one. We're going to pick that next loop up, work it, and the next one, and work it. I can go ahead and remove these first, not the ones at the end, but these first 2. We can just take those out. This is why I love bobby pins, because they work so easily. If you're new at this, you want to make sure that you count 48 stitches on each side. So you can work 2, and let's just say you go 1 and 1, 2 and 2, and count that way. Then you count to 48. If you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, you count to 96, because technically there are 96 loops that we are going to work. Counting the first one that you put your stitch in, with that first bobby pin counts as number 1, and you go back and forth. And friends, you have to make sure that you get all these loops, because if you do not, then whichever loop you miss, like if I was to miss this next loop right here and move over to this one by accident, then when I take my waist yarn off, whatever row this one is connected to is going to start unraveling. Okay, we do not want that. So unless you know exactly unless you've done this before and you can very easily see the stitches without counting, then you need to make sure that you count. You don't want to make a mistake at this part of the project, okay? So you're going to keep going around just like this all the way around, attaching those 2 ends. Smooth it out like this so you have a longer edge that you can work, and we're going to just keep going until we get to the end. It's so easy. Don't stress about it. If this is your first time doing it, just watch this a couple times and you'll see that it's not a difficult technique. Take a big breath and know that that you can do it. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, we all start somewhere. So go ahead, get your tube all joined together just like this, and I'm going to just keep smoothing it out like this, so I have a longer road to go down, and it's just easier to hold. And when I get to the end, I will show you how we close it off, okay? Have fun, friends. I'm coming up to the end here, and it can get tight. That's why these stitch markers are so valuable, okay? So I'm going to go back down, pick up this one, go up here, because sometimes those last 2 stitches can get really tight and hidden. But now all I got to do is pick up on that stitch marker, work that stitch, and this one at the top should be your last one. If this one at the bottom is your last one, you've missed a stitch somewhere. So go ahead and make sure that it's at the top, pick that up, work that stitch, and we've completed it all the way around. So what you're going to do now is you're going to just I'm going to take both of these tails, the green and the purple. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through that last loop, just like that. And there we go. Now we can actually, pardon me, I did that wrong. We're going to just take one tail and pull it through, and then we can tie this off. Just like this. Okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to remove your waste yarn. So this is the end that we started our project on, because when you take that, when you roll it up and you see that row where you can rock it through that loop there, you know that that's beginning of your project, and we need to remove that first row. So we're going to pinch a stitch and pull out that top row. Go down, roll it up, find that top row, pinch the stitch, and pull. All we got to do is release this first row. There are other ways too. We can easily, before we start our project, we do our waste yarn and then do the last row with a different color of waste yarn, just one row. Then you just have to pull out that one row and the whole thing comes off. I do have a video on that. And I keep saying I'm going to start doing that again. And I haven't done it, but I'm going to incorporate that into some of my newer videos that I do, because it is a good idea too. And I always get comments under my video, why aren't you doing this? It's just another way. And you know what? I just find this works for me too, and I don't mind doing it. So either way, whatever works good for you. And I usually roll this up as I'm taking it off too, but for the sake of time, I'm going to just pull it out. See how nicely that comes out? Okay, now for the other part, this one's easy. This is the end of our project, and this will just automatically unravel. This one I'm going to roll up. And it will automatically unravel. You don't have to loosen the first row. Okay, go ahead, take your waste yarn off, and I'll meet you back. That's what your edge is going to look like if you have two colors. If you don't have two colors, then it's not going to look quite so funky, but we're going to hide that anyways. But you can take your two tails. I had told you to leave your purple one a little bit longer, and you don't have to, because I'm going to attach this outside color to finish it off. But you're going to take your needle. Now that you've tied this in a knot, we're going to go ahead and hide these two tails. I'm going to just weave them underneath a couple stitches here. And then pop them down into my work. Cut them off. Okay, so now let's turn this beautiful piece the right way and just observe. There you go. You know what? I don't mind these colors. Anyways, again, put in the comments, would you wear these colors? I want to take a poll out there. I want to know if you're like me and you're mostly into, warmer colors that are more closer together in their shades, or if you would wear something as bright as this. Let me know. I really am curious to know your thoughts on that. But now for what you're going to do is you're going to take a needle and you're going to put a yarn strand on it that is when you have your beanie right side out like this, you want to take this main color here that's up closest to the top here, and we are going to Kitchener stitch this closed, okay? And then you're not going to see that funky top, but if you like the funky top, you can close it that way too, however you like. But we are going to use the Kitchener stitch and we're going to close this top, okay? Okay, my sweet friends, I recorded the Kitchener stitch on that other beanie all the way from the beginning to the end, closed it off, blah, blah, blah. And then I watched as I was doing the editing of my video. You cannot see what I'm doing because it's so dark. So I whipped up another beanie in the colors that I love. Like, isn't that just so pretty? and I'm going to show you on this. I figured out a patterning for the Kitchener stitch that makes so much sense that you're going to that's how you're going to think after you do this. I have one other video on my channel where I say, pretend that this is the inside and this is the outside. So you're going to go from under that stitch and come out, and then you're going to go in that next one and go, so it goes into the middle and blah, blah, blah. It's was very confusing, and every other video that I've watched is a little bit confusing like that too, to be honest with you. No slamming anybody, but I just found a patterning in my head that works. And so I'm going to show it to you. We are going to start with a stitch where the wide part of the V is at the top. Okay, so here's the point. I'm just going to give you the visual before we do it. This is the wide part of the V. So this is the row that we're going to start on. Any row that has the wide part of the V. Then you see the rows in between. So if this is a row and this is a row, the two stitches in between is the point of the V. So see how I stretch that up now? You see the point? So then the wide part's going down. We're going to focus for this pattern, for this stitch, on the rows that have the V, the point of the V going up. Because all we're going to do, rather than say, okay, go under and out and then go in, all we're going to do is pick up the 2 bars that are between the 2 rows that form that V going here. So this is 1 row, wide part of the V is at the top. This is 1 row, wide part of the V is at the top. These are the 2 bars in between. This is the second bar from this stitch, and this is the first bar from that stitch. But the reason why you're going to remember it is because it's where the point is. Okay, so the 2 stitches that form the point are the ones we're always going to just pick up and go under like this. Okay, and that is like going under and then up, down and up, down and up, except for we're just going across. It's the same technique. Okay, so every time we pick up on one side, on this side, we're going to go underneath 2 bars where the point of the V is at the top. When we go over to the other side, here's where here's the 1 row. The wide part of the V is at the top. Here's the one. The wide part is at the top. The 2 bars in the middle where the point of the V comes up to the top. That's always what we're going to pick up. Those 2 right there. Okay. So you're going to just pick a side. Let's just pick a row. We're going to say this is the first row we're going to do. You are going to want to have a stitch marker just to start because it's hard to find this second bar right here where this point, where this V is, the point of the V is at the top. It's hard to find. So I'm going to stick my stitch marker in that side. This is the one I'm going to work. Okay, so this is the wide part of the V. I'm just going to put my stitch marker on the left side. Then the row that's right over. Okay, so you can just look down and you see the wide part of the V is up. You're going to go all the way up to the top one here. Okay, this is the V, the point of the V there. These are the 2 stitches we're going to work. So we're going to put the stitch marker on that second half of that stitch. And again, this is just for these first 2 stitches to start us off. Just helps with the visual. Okay, so now this is the row I'm beginning on. And you see the wide part of the V is there. We are going to take our needle, and we're going to put it from right to left underneath that bar. Pull that through. Then we're going to go right over to this next one and go underneath that bar and pull it through. And the reason why these stitch markers are now going to help is because we can see where that second stitch is. Otherwise, when you're just starting out, it's hard to see. So this is the second half of that row, but I said that what we're going to do is we're going to pick up on the V's. So this is the next row. Wide part of the V is there. This is the second half of this row. So I'm going to go under there and under the next one. And you see the point of the stitch is there. So I'm going to take these 2 like that and snag it on my stitch marker, and I'm going to pull it through just like so. You don't have to pull it tight yet. We're going to pull it tight later. This is just to show me that this is the first one I'm going to go under. So this is the point of the V. Okay, this is my next row, but I got to go back into this one, and this is the point. That's what we're always going to focus on, the row, the in-between row where the 2 rows meet, and there's a point of the V at the top. So I'm going to go into there and go straight across and pick up 2 bars. Pull that through. You'll see this line there, but it's going to tighten later. Don't worry. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to the next row where the point of the V is up at the top. That's right here. Pick up those 2 bars. This is where bobby pins maybe not be the greatest stitch marker of choice, but hey, me and my bobby pins, you know I love them. Then we're going to go back down to this side, okay? We see the point of this is where it's coming out right here, but we're going to look for that row where the point of the V is at the top, and we're going to pick up both of those bars. Pull it through, okay? And you're getting these long lines that are there, but you will see the magic happen. And then we're going to, you can take these out now because they're just getting in the way. I'm coming from the back there, so I'm going to come from the front here. Here's where the next V is, where the point of the V is at the top. So I'm going to just pick up those 2 bars. That's all I have to concentrate on for the Kitchener stitch. Then, here's where the point of the V is the next one. The point of the V is at the top and the wide part of the stitch is down. I'm going to pick up those 2 bars. You are going to love doing this stitch now. And if you say that, like, I can't tell because it's in there, then just look farther down the row. You'll see that this is where the V's are pointy at the top. I know that's my next row to grab. So I'm going to grab those 2 bars. And I'm going to go across. And see where the pointy is? Right there. So I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to do that all the way across. When I get to the middle, I'll stop and I'll show you when I pull it. Okay? Pick up these next 2. So simple when you visualize it that way. I might have to take off that other video that I did just to redo it so that it's not as confusing. But I'm going to do a video on how to do the Kitchener stitch because I just think that when you visualize it this way, see, I'm looking, okay, it's coming out here. Where's my V going up? The next place where the V is at the point of the V is at the top is right here. So I'm going to just go there. I'm going to do that all the way across, friends. So simple. And then you're not thinking, go up, then go down, go up, go down, go up, go down, inside, outside, all around. You're just going underneath the stitch where the point of the V is at the top. And then let's tighten this now. Why not? We've got a lot done there. We're going to take both ends and we're going to pull. That is magic. And it's beautiful. Oh, just absolutely beautiful. I was thinking the Kitchener stitch is really the same as the mattress stitch, except for the mattress stitch, we're picking up 2 here, going this way, and the Kitchener stitch, we're picking up 2 going this way. And so I thought, okay, so if it's that easy to explain with the mattress stitch, why can't we make it easier to explain with Kitchener stitch? So that, my friends, is how I do the Kitchener stitch. So you keep going all the way to the end, and when you get there, I'll meet you back. I made it to the end, and I'm going to just grab both ends and pull that again. And that, my friends, is how you do the Kitchener stitch to close a flat edge on a tube. And then you just take your needle, make a knot. That's one. I'm going to do another one. Hide it in your work once I find my scissors. Okay, hide it in your work. Knot off the other side and do the same. See, not so hard, is it? Not so hard. When you can visualize a patterning, like I'm a visual learner, so maybe that's why I figured this out like that. I can't even thread a needle, but I am a visual learner. Maybe someone has to show me how to thread this. And now that I have the visual in my head, that you always pick up the 2 bars that are between the 2 rows, which is where the point of the V is at the top, then there's really no guesswork. You don't have to really think. You just do it. Okay, so there you go. And I'm going to show you the other side. Perfect. Beautiful. And there we go. So, of course, we slip stitched it closed first using our waist yarn. But then, there we go. But then we Kitchener stitched it so that we don't see that slip stitch. And here is the results. All right, friends, I'm going to use my green clover pom-pom maker. It has a number 65 on the back, so if that helps you know the size, then great. It's the one that I use the most. I have a set of 4, and this is the 3rd largest. I'm not gonna make the entire pom-pom with you because I have a video on that, and you can look it up, how to make a pom-pom on a clover maker. But I'm just gonna get you started. I'm going to, I'll wrap 1/2. I'm going to put all 3 colors together pop them into that center and begin wrapping. Okay, this is what you do to both sides. Doesn't take long when you have 3 strands. Except for if you're stepping on them, of course. And I just keep wrapping back and forth. One more time. Until I have not quite a flat edge there, but almost, okay? That's how I determine how full to wrap them, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the other side. Then I'm going to make my pom-poms, 2 of them, and then I'll see you back. You go ahead and look at my video on how to make a pom-pom on a clover pom-pom maker, and I'll show you exactly what I do. Done. So when you have them similar in size, we will attach them. You know what this reminds me of? Cheerleading days. I couldn't cheerlead. I couldn't jump and do a rah for the life of me at my age now. But when you're young and you do these pom-pom cheerleaders, isn't that like great? So if you have any kids who like to do cheers, make them some pom-poms. Okay, it wasn't not a big bunny trail. Okay, we're going to take one end here and we're going to pop it through the corner just like that. Okay, take the other one and go the opposite direction. Pop it from that side to this side. Then you're going to take the 2 and you're going to pull and you're going to tie. Doesn't get much easier than that, my friends. Okay, tie and tie. Getting that knot underneath the pom-pom strands and close to the beanie. You can do use a double strand if you like. If you wanted to put both of these on and then go through and then figure out a way to tie them with a double strand, you can do that, but this will hold. You got to trust me. It'll hold. Okay. It's nice and secure. You can't get in there to pull on it and break it. So it's just perfect. I'm going to take that, go through that same place where I took it through before, and I'm going to cut this off so it's the same length as my pom-poms. And there we go. We got one on. Let's do the second. I'm going to cut these off. They're way too long. Story of my life. Okay. Pop that on. We're going to go through that corner with one of them. Take the other one. Go through the opposite direction. And then give it a good tight tie. Three or 4 knots, just to be sure. Now I just put it through the one time just to give it a little bit of security in holding it by just going through this one more time, just like this. But you know what you can also do is you can just hide it into the seam, no problem. But I think that works great. All right, you know what I think all this needs now is a little happy face right here. And some kid will love it, okay? So then you just trim up your pom-poms where you see that there's some little ones that are a little too long that you missed the first time. Get it all nice and perfect, attention to detail. And my friends, there you have it. A suggestion from a member of my Facebook group because she posted one and then another person wanted the pattern and so they asked if I would do it. So there you go. It's all for you, my friends. Once again, I say thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos and liking and subscribing and just for being a part of the community that I have tried to create here. I just appreciate you all so much. I am thrilled with how fast this channel has grown and just with the positive interactions we have, not only in the comments below, but in my Facebook group as well. So thanks again, my friends. I just appreciate you so much, and I'm so happy that we can spend this time together. Please be sure and show me your projects when you're finished, okay? And again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video.